Fury, the fighting man, 100-0 on the hard road. I think he had a professional boxing career, and I think he lost more than he won. And I'm not going to disrespect him. If he's got in the ring in the professional capacity, fair play to him. He deserves respect for that. But come on, don't be calling out the...
I'm from Flatton Bellew, and somebody else I'm not
no
mentioned.
one's headbutting him.
No, listen, let them men do what they do. The YouTubers, they like talking behind the camera. You want to come and see me? I'm here, and I'm ready, and I'm stepping back from no man, no matter who.
John Fury just lost his mind on camera, and now there's a real fight brewing that nobody saw coming. We're talking about a full-blown war between Carl Froch, the legendary former world champion, and Big John Fury, Tyson's father, and it's about to go down at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. What started as trash talk has exploded into the most chaotic boxing story of the year. And by the end of this, you'll see exactly why this fight could either make or break both men's reputations forever.
Tell them that, you know what? You can't knock me, mate. Disrespect me and I'm going to take the job over. I don't care who it is. You disrespect me and I'm taking the job over.
So here's how this whole mess started. John Fury storms into a press conference demanding that Carl Froch sign a contract immediately. We're talking full-blown aggression, veins popping, the whole intimidation routine. But here's where it gets wild. Froch doesn't even flinch. The man who fought Mikkel Kessler twice, who knocked out George Groves at Wembley in front of 80,000 people, just calmly looks at this raging bull and fires back with ice-cold precision. Tells Fury straight up that he's the better man and warns him he'd punch his face in without breaking a sweat. The tension in that room was so thick you could cut it with a knife, and everyone knew this wasn't just typical boxing banter anymore. This was personal, and both men were ready to settle it the old-fashioned way.
See what you can do about it. So get your people to contact me directly, just me. I'm a one-man band. Let's talk about the business side of it, get the contracts drawn up, and I will fight you Wembley Stadium this year. Don't worry about that. John Fury will not back out of a fight with you, my friend, and nobody else either.
The Cobra's still in outrageous, chiseled shape. If you were stood across the ring with me with 10-ounce gloves on, it wouldn't last very long. And if you're talking about kicking up the arse to give me a slap, when you see me, that's a totally different story. That's a roll around on the cobbles. And trust me, you don't want to go there with me, because I'll have a fight with you. I'll fight you for a fiver. I'll beat you for a...
But wait, it gets even more insane. Carl Froch starts absolutely roasting John Fury, calling him a straight-up loser who hasn't won half the fights Froch has dominated throughout his career. Think about that for a second. Froch is a former unified super middleweight champion, a man who headlined massive pay-per-views and beat world-class opposition for years. And here's John Fury, whose biggest claim to fame is being Tyson's dad, trying to match credentials with a Hall of Fame fighter. Froch is laughing at Fury's bravado, telling him he'd dominate whether it's in the ring or on the cobbles, and his confidence is absolutely sky-high. The audience can see Froch treating this entire challenge with this cheeky superiority that's driving Fury absolutely mental, because deep down, everyone knows Froch has the resume to back up every single word coming out of his mouth.
Let's get it on! All right, pal? Let's get the fuck on with it! Here I am! They're talking about me day and night on videos! Day and night on videos! And here I am ready to fight! Where are you? Where the fuck are you?
And that's when John Fury completely snaps. We're talking full meltdown mode. He storms toward Froch screaming for a fight right there on the spot, turning what should have been a professional press conference into absolute chaos. Security is scrambling, cameras are rolling, and Fury's raw aggression is pushing every boundary you can imagine. But here's the kicker. Froch is just standing there, almost amused, watching this grown man throw a tantrum like a toddler who didn't get his candy. The footage shows Fury's theatrics completely backfiring because while he's losing his mind, Froch looks like the composed professional who's seen it all before. The crowd is watching this unfold, and you can see them questioning who really holds the control in this explosive showdown. And it sure as hell isn't the guy screaming and flailing around like a maniac.
He was going in on Carl Froch. He was angry. He even went for Steve Bunce, all of that, right? So then you had all these people like Joe Egan coming out and, you know, bringing John Fury's name up again, calling him out again. And this is when John Fury was saying, yeah, you know, me and Carl Froch, yeah, you know, I'm up for it. I'm willing to go. And Carl Froch in his recent video, in fact, just
called it out, hasn't he? He's going to give 75% of the money to charity as well. I mean, he talks some waffle, doesn't he? But it's gone to the stage where the broadcasters are quite interested, and he's making demands now, unreasonable demands, about trying to get Tommy Fury on to fight before him and me. So he's basically put a blockade in there with his son Tommy, which is ridiculous because, let's be honest, no one gives a shit about Tommy fighting. Who cares? We watched him against, who's that YouTuber? Fake Paul. Watched that fight, and Tommy's done nothing since. He pulled out against Darren Till, and he's done fuck all since, so no one's bothered. It's Big John Fury running his mouth, big gobshite, making a load of noise, making a nuisance of himself. He looked like a right pillock, didn't he, at that press conference last week. So then he gets offered the opportunity. He's been offered the opportunity before to fight Joe Egan, let's be honest, and he bottled it, Mickey Theo. But the Joe Egan's the big one. Joe Egan stuck it on him and put loads out there to say, I'll fight you. And Misfits would probably show that. And John Fury has got no intentions of fighting.
Now here's where boxing insiders start weighing in, and their reactions tell you everything you need to know about how this looks to people who actually understand the sport. Liam Goh breaks down John Fury's chaotic behavior, explaining how he's going on the offensive and even threatening other people around him who have nothing to do with this beef. Meanwhile, Froch is offering a charity twist to the whole spectacle while calmly mocking Fury's meltdown. Think about that. One guy is threatening random bystanders. The other is talking about raising money for good causes. Fury's desperate attempts to get his son Tommy involved only make him look more pathetic, while Froch's composure and laser focus make him appear completely untouchable. This isn't just about who can throw harder punches anymore. This is proving once again who truly commands respect in this heated saga, and it's not the guy having public breakdowns.
No, not really. It's thuggish behaviour. John Fury's, is boorish, thuggish, unedifying, unpalatable, uncouth, vulgar behaviour. Absolutely. But what do you expect from John Fury? John Fury's been in prison for gouging someone's eyes out. What did you expect him to do? Convert into a Samaritan? Is it a nice look? No. Was it a nice look over the years in boxing about so many things? This ridiculous sentimentalising of society, expecting everyone to behave in their best version.
But here's where it gets really brutal for John Fury's reputation. Simon Jordan, who never holds back, comes out swinging verbally, calling out Fury's behavior as crude and downright ugly. He's painting Fury as a man who thrives on chaos rather than honor, someone who represents everything wrong with modern boxing circus atmosphere. Meanwhile, Froch's ability to stay composed and professional through all this madness makes him look infinitely more credible and respectable. You've got this stark contrast. Fury's building a thuggish reputation that only makes Froch's calm mockery and razor-sharp responses seem even more devastating. Fans are getting a clear battle of character as much as a potential fight, and Jordan's analysis is showing everyone exactly who the real man is in this situation. When respected boxing voices are calling you crude and ugly, that's not the kind of attention that helps your cause.
Yeah, listen, it's boxing, it's family. John's John. Both goading each other. Both very personal. Both means a lot to everybody. Shouldn't have done it.
Get this, even the promoters are starting to weigh in on what this chaos means for the sport. Eddie Hearn acknowledges the madness between Froch and Fury, but he makes a crucial point that changes how we should look at this entire situation. All this drama is elevating interest and turning what could have been a forgotten grudge match into must-watch entertainment. Froch's calculated reactions against Fury's wild outbursts are putting the spotlight directly on Froch's experience and ring intelligence. Sure, Fury's emotional displays might grab headlines and get people talking on social media, but Hearn makes it crystal clear that real boxing fans appreciate skill over spectacle. And when it comes to delivering pure boxing ability, Froch has everything Fury wishes he had: technique, power, championship experience, and the mental toughness that comes from facing elite-level opposition for over a decade.
Within my jab, or you will be getting ironed out. You'll be unconscious.
Now listen to this part, because this is where John Fury's whole tough guy act starts falling apart completely. Pain Game highlights the massive hypocrisy in Fury's approach. He's constantly boasting about fighting anyone, anytime, anywhere, yet when genuine offers hit the table, he's nowhere to be found. Froch has repeatedly called out this contradiction, pointing out how Fury's bluster doesn't match his actions when it's time to actually sign contracts and show up. This moment captures everything wrong with Fury's approach. All that tough talk rings completely hollow, while Froch is making smart, calculated challenges that put real money and real consequences on the line. The audience can see clearly who's acting like a genuine contender ready to back up his words, and who's just shouting for attention like some wannabe tough guy at the local pub.
How does that make any logical sense? No, it does, because he's a name. That's how it makes sense. You jump the queue. And that is...
Hold up, because what happens next makes this whole situation even more embarrassing for the Fury camp. Ade Oladipo breaks down how Fury lunged aggressively at Froch during the press conference, creating a spectacle instead of handling business like a professional fighter should. But here's what's really telling. Froch didn't panic, didn't flinch, didn't even step backward. He just stood there composed, making Fury look impulsive and completely reckless in front of everyone watching. Viewers can see this massive contrast between Fury's theatrical aggression that belongs in a bad movie and Froch's controlled professionalism that comes from years of handling real pressure in real fights. This reinforces exactly why Froch's voice carries so much weight in boxing circles, and why Fury's antics only fuel more drama without adding any credibility to his fighting reputation.
The pressure is now on John to behave himself. He's distracted a lot of attention and talk, and I'm quite sure someone will have a word with him out. The authorities will have a word with him.
But wait, it gets worse for John Fury's image. Johnny Nelson, who knows a thing or two about handling pressure as a former world champion, cuts right to the heart of what's wrong with Fury's approach. Nelson explains how Fury lets his emotions drive every single action and constantly loses himself in the moment, which is exactly the opposite of what you want in a real fighter. Froch, by complete contrast, reads these emotional cues like a chess master and refuses to be rattled by amateur-hour intimidation tactics. This breakdown makes Fury's lack of self-control painfully obvious to anyone watching, and shows how Froch's calmness under pressure makes him look miles ahead as both a boxing mind and a public figure who understands how to handle business properly.
It could have been a huge brawl in there, because both entourages are huge, about 25 in each team. There's about 150 international media here as well in the mezzanine floor. It was still dramatic anyway, but thankfully the security did a great job as well.
And here's where things almost went completely off the rails. Gareth Davies describes how dangerously close this situation came to erupting into an actual brawl before security had to step in and separate grown men acting like children. Bodies packed tight, cameras flashing everywhere, tension crackling in the air like electricity. This was on the verge of becoming a full riot. John Fury's loudmouth antics were risking turning a simple press day into absolute chaos that could have resulted in arrests, lawsuits, and a complete circus that would have embarrassed everyone involved. But through all of this madness, Froch remained composed and completely unfazed, making Fury look like the one desperately trying to start trouble while Froch kept his dignity intact. That kind of composure under pressure is what separates real champions from pretenders who crumble when things get heated.
Threatening, actually, and quite, if I was a bit of a snowflake, then I'd have been upset, I'd have been offended by it, because he was threatening, he was calling it on, and he was saying basically watch your back and you don't want to go back to prison. So he needs to be careful, doesn't he? I mean, he's talking about going back to prison, so he's putting loose threats out there.
Now here's where Carl Froch shows exactly why he's operating on a different level than John Fury mentally. Froch calmly explains that Fury's threats went way beyond normal trash talk and crossed into outright intimidation, even bringing up prison references like some street thug. But instead of getting dragged down into Fury's gutter-level behavior, Froch points out the complete absurdity of Fury's approach, calling it unnecessary and reckless in the most professional way possible. His reaction stays calm and controlled, never spiking into Fury's emotional chaos, which makes it crystal clear to viewers that Froch isn't rattled by these amateur intimidation tactics. He's exposing Fury's threats as empty bravado from someone who desperately wants attention, not someone who actually wants a real fight with real consequences.
I'll let you first.
But man, John Fury just keeps digging himself deeper. He boldly claims he won't step back from anyone, trying to project this image of being fearless and ready to go toe-to-toe with a former world champion. The raw energy he's throwing around is wild and completely unfiltered, but what's glaringly missing is any real strategy, respect for the sport, or understanding of what he's actually getting himself into. Froch's reaction to this kind of bravado is measured and almost mocking, like a professor watching a student who didn't study for the exam. While Fury tries to appear hard and fearless, it completely backfires, making him look more like someone craving drama and social media attention than a man with any kind of coherent plan for actually winning a fight.
They're trying to pick on the old man, and the old man will go to town. But there's enough young men who will sort him out for them.
You want some smoke from Carl Froch?
I'll beat Carl Froch.
I don't know you, but I'm backing Carl.
I'll get Carl.
And now the whole Fury family is getting involved in this mess. Roman Fury jumps in defending his father, claiming Big John will go to town on Froch, and even suggesting he'll beat the former champion. This is typical Fury family noise, lots of volume, lots of bravado, but absolutely zero substance when you break it down. Think about what they're actually claiming here, that a man who's never competed at world level is going to beat someone who unified world titles and headlined major pay-per-views. Froch's reaction to these types of delusional claims is silent confidence, letting his history and documented skills do the talking. When someone tries to hype themselves up this theatrically, it usually shows deep insecurity, not genuine strength, and the audience can hear that desperation loud and clear.
To get in a man's face in front of a hall with over 500 people, what do you expect someone to do? Pushing and shoving, and we all know Big John's quick-tempered, you know what I mean? But he threw the headbutt first, so it is what it is. But I think when you're getting someone's first and you're tolerating and pushing someone's head back,
Isaac Lowe makes a point that cuts right through all the nonsense and gets to the real issue here. He puts it plainly: when you rush down and get up in someone's face in front of hundreds of people and cameras, you should absolutely expect a reaction. He's pointing directly at John Fury's quick temper and suggesting that Fury brought this entire chaos situation on himself through his own actions. Meanwhile, Froch stayed calm and professional the entire time, making Fury's theatrics look less like genuine courage and more like ego-fueled aggression from someone who doesn't understand how to handle business properly. The crowd's reaction during these confrontations makes it absolutely clear who really holds the moral high ground in this situation, and it's not the guy throwing tantrums and making threats.
Amongst them, all I could hear was badness. You know, so at the end of it, some little idiot come forward, I knew he was in my space. He got what he got, and that's the end of it. It happens every other week for me, that.
Now John Fury tries to defend his behavior, and this is where his explanations actually make everything worse for his reputation. He claims he was surrounded by chaos and just reacting to someone invading his personal space. But what this really does is expose his completely unchecked aggression and inability to handle pressure situations professionally. He's framing the whole situation like everyday street behavior, which might play well to a certain crowd on social media, but against someone with Carl Froch's credentials and composure, it looks unfocused and utterly undisciplined. Froch's camp has been calm and calculated throughout this entire saga, consistently emphasizing professionalism and skill rather than impulsive brawling and emotional outbursts. Fury's desperate attempts to justify physical confrontations only underline how unpredictable and untrained he appears compared to Froch's composed legacy, where experience and ring know-how speak volumes without needing theatrics or excuses.
You honestly think if these two come together like this, well, you know what's going to happen?
So what
I'm going to keep them apart by a wall of security.
Here's where even the promoters are acknowledging how out of control this situation has become. Eddie Hearn points out that the tension between Froch and John Fury has reached such dangerous levels that heavy security might be needed just to keep things civil during any future interactions. He's not necessarily criticizing either man, but he's being realistic about how volatile and unpredictable this situation has grown. Froch's reputation as a composed and universally respected former world champion makes Fury's loud confrontations look like pure spectacle rather than any kind of credible boxing challenge. The fact that a seasoned promoter like Hearn would even consider physical separation by security makes it crystal clear this isn't normal boxing banter or promotional hype. Froch has handled every single provocation with complete professionalism, even when Fury's antics threaten to overshadow more important fights and storylines. The audience watching this unfold can see that Froch's method of controlling chaos with composure makes him look far more like the real fighter in this entire mess.
Father of the king of the world. I think he's referring to Tyson Fury. You know, when you have kids, you know, most people, when they want to talk about their children, they might pull their mobile phone out and show a few pictures. Big John just shows his balls. That's where they came from. If there's anyone who needs a Manscaped advert, it's fucking John.
Pain Game's commentary here is cheeky, but drives home just how absurd John Fury's antics have become throughout this whole saga. He's comparing Fury's behavior to someone who's more fixated on theatrics and social media moments, rather than actual combat substance or fighting ability. This isn't about serious boxing discussion or legitimate sporting competition anymore. It's about personal bravado and physical exhibitionism designed to go viral. This perspective underscores how Fury's entire approach often detracts from the real sport, focusing on manufactured noise and spectacle instead of skill and preparation. Froch, by complete contrast, stays grounded in boxing fundamentals and uses his extensive legacy and championship experience to cut through all the nonsense with surgical precision. Viewers can clearly see that Froch's commentary style and actions are rooted in genuine respect for the sport and its traditions, making Fury's theatrical outbursts look shallow and desperate for any kind of attention, positive or negative. Frank Warren makes what might be the most important point about this entire situation and what it means for boxing's reputation. He clearly states that he dislikes all the chaos and drama because the focus should always be on the quality of the actual fighting, not the melodrama and circus atmosphere surrounding it. Froch embodies that principle perfectly. His past world title bouts and skill-driven career stand in stark contrast to everything Fury represents with his noise-making and attention-seeking behavior. Warren's words remind everyone watching that truly great fights sell themselves purely on merit and competitive excellence, not screaming matches and social media stunts. Froch's incredible legacy in the ring remains powerful and speaks for itself without requiring any of Fury's desperate theatrics, emphasizing that real fighters let their documented achievements and proven abilities speak infinitely louder than provocation, manufactured beef, and cheap media stunts designed for clicks rather than respect. So here we are, this feud between Carl Froch and John Fury has exploded from press conference chaos into a full-blown fight proposal, with both men publicly calling each other out and actually agreeing to settle everything under the lights at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We're talking about a real fight happening in just 8 weeks, and Froch's acceptance and ruthless responses show he's not intimidated by any of Fury's talk or threats. This is a Hall of Fame fighter who could potentially end Fury's theatrics once and for all in the most definitive way possible. But here's what makes this absolutely wild. If John Fury somehow shocked the entire boxing world and landed significant moments against a seasoned professional like Froch, it would go down as one of the sport's most unforgettable upsets in history. We're talking pure theater and raw emotion wrapped up in real consequences and actual punches. The question everyone's asking is who's mentally stronger, Froch with his icy control and championship experience, or Fury with his unpredictable aggression and nothing-to-lose attitude? Drop your predictions in the comments and tell us who you think wins this insane showdown and exactly how it goes down. If this breakdown helped you understand what's really happening behind all the chaos, smash that like button, subscribe for more boxing breakdowns, and hit the notification bell because this story is just getting started. I'll see you in the next one.